public comes into this. That's where the ministry bill, C-522, that's on the table at the House of Commons right now, that's why this came to be. It came from this community, from Minister Godin, who I applaud immensely. Very genuine supporter of this community and the communities in this area. So the next point, 15-passenger vans do not have a rollover stability that is equal to school bus construction. In the back, when you picked up your bits of information like handout, there are sheets back there. And this particular one, this Goshen coach, this is what they use in the House of Parliament to transport ministers around 30 kilometers an hour. It has rollover protection from the floor to the roof line, from the roof line over. It has side impact crash zones. It has proper seat spacing. It has good quality seats. It has safety glass in the side windows. So we say, why does that have so much merit? I guess it's important to keep them safe. That's all I can say. And I say that with the utmost respect. This is our opportunity as leaders in our communities to do something about that. Now, data from the Natural Highway Transportation Safety Administration, NHTSA, in the USA shows that when carrying fewer than 5 passengers, 15-passenger vans roll in 12.3% of crashes. It's about the design of that particular vehicle. These are facts. They're not suppositions from my part, they're absolute facts. So when you go a little farther, 5 to 9 passengers, vans roll 20.8% of the time. That's in a survey of 16 of 77 crashes. Most people read about now, they start to go, not good. So let's go a little farther. With 10 or more aboard, vans roll 34.5% of the time. And this was surveyed at 23 of 65 crashes. So there you have the graph where it shows that this is a typical graph that you'll find anywhere on that website. We're going to go back a little bit to fishtailing. So what is fishtailing? It's a dangerous stability problem not noticeable to average drivers. It becomes all too apparent in an emergency steer situation, such as when a van drifts onto a shoulder of a roadway. And every community has different surfaces on the roadways. Sometimes the shoulders are a little deeper than others, and sometimes not. In an emergency maneuver, a sharp turn could likely cause a loss of control at higher speeds. And it doesn't mean that you have to be doing 80 kilometers an hour to experience that. It can be done a lot less. And then, of course, the vans have never been fully loaded with passengers to see if they can conduct such a steering maneuver. Very interesting they do that with cars, isn't it? You see the dummies all dressed up nice and neat and into the wall. And you see them get hit from the side to the side. And the statistics, they monitor that information. And in one of these large color things here, this one bus manufacturer, it's an MFAB company, did side impact testing and rear crash zone testing. That's what these manufacturers have to go through to get a standard called the D270 standard. It's a standard for these MFABs, so that it's safe to transport passengers and students. And the information from the testing is here. I challenge anyone to show me crash testing on the 15-passenger vans. I've looked, I haven't found it. And I did a lot of research. So rear tire slide, commonly called fishtails, occurs when the maximum lateral friction or traction loss of the rear tires is reached. So that's just a technical term that engineers use to decide what really has happened with the dynamic of the contact between the tires and the road. Lateral friction loss. A big term, very important. So, and that happens when the traction loss of the rear tire is reached. The condition is known as an oversteer, the vehicle characteristic common to these vans. And I say that with all true integrity. That is exactly what happens to these vans. So, Drivers unfamiliar with two-vehicle dynamics, typically people that don't drive on a regular basis as a full-time job or a vocation. They often are mistaken or attribute this to overcorrection, meaning the driver has turned the steering wheel too sharply, causing the driver to be unsure which direction the tires are facing. So let me take you on a little journey. One of these vehicles are going down the highway. It's got 14 passengers in it, including the driver, and the driver catches the shoulder of the road. That vehicle dips. The driver realizes, I've just gone off the shoulder road. I got to get back on the road. And now the brain pattern of the human brain, yours, mine, identical. Panic sets in. Whoop, you grab that steering wheel and you flip it back quickly. And if anybody has ever owned a Ford vehicle, and I use that as a term to make you understand, the steering in the Ford vehicle is so light, you could drive it with your little finger, and you drive very comfortably. It's very smooth, it's very nice. And I use the analogy, when Ford does an advertisement like this, that's a warm, fuzzy, families are happy, everybody's going to have a great time. You in the community here know that's not quite true. So the driver has turned the wheel too sharply, causing the driver to be unsure which direction the tire is facing. If you have really light steering and you lose friction to the tires, no one can tell you where those wheels are, because you grab it very quickly and spin it around. So then when the friction is settled down on the tire and the tire starts to grab on the back or the front, then you feel, oh, I've gone too far. You go back the other way. Pretty soon there's no way of knowing where those steering tires are pointed. It sets a terrific situation up here for danger. So, on the last point of this sheet, the vans do not have adequate rear traction when fully loaded or safely perform the maneuvers without the danger of fishing or rear tire slide. So, we talked a little bit about the gravity, center of gravity changing. So, when the fully loaded van, the center of gravity changes, the increased weight in the rear tires combined with the high center of gravity, rearward center of gravity, causes the van to lose traction in emergency maneuvers. The natural tendency, as I just said, was to oversteer. To regain control, which increases the likelihood of rollover, including tragic consequences. Now, the rollover doesn't happen in every instance, but the textbook situation for this vehicle is just that. The vehicle will lose control, and on a dry surface it will roll because it catches itself on the road surface and it starts the van rolling.